is graduation day. We are on our way to Colorado Springs, and I have a driver today. Just got done with practice. We just went to long course season, so look at this. It is one long pool. Hey vlog, let's talk for a minute or two about the concept of momentum, the principle of momentum, and how central it is to your success. It's, you know, I don't know what all of you do out there. I don't know what your jam is, but I know for sure that if you don't understand how to take advantage of momentum, you're either going to lose or you're going to win eventually, but it's going to be brutally difficult, way beyond anything that is necessary whatsoever, and you'll be basically in a race against a coronary is what it's going to come down to. So I would suggest harnessing and functioning from a place of power with regard to momentum. And let's just touch on a couple keys here. And again, this is coming up because I've been working with some clients on different goals and visions and things that they have set out for themselves. And this theme kept popping up, so I thought it would be a good thing to, again, address here real briefly. So the first thing is, if you have momentum on your side, it creates openings and opportunities for you that are absolutely unbelievable. You can skyrocket in terms of what you're producing, what you're accomplishing, what you are able to basically bring within the fold and within your grasp. There's some things that are going to be outside of your grasp forever if you don't have momentum on your side. But if you have momentum on your side, there's things that you can do. It's so easy to get some. Have you found that, right? Like, you've been pushing really hard for something and for so long, potentially years, and then when you get momentum on your side, it's this magical force that slingshots you forward, and it's a really exciting thing. It's a pretty dynamic thing, and it feels absolutely tremendous. There's a lot of confidence that goes along with it, that's rolled up into it, because you just feel, man, I'm unstoppable right now. And when you have momentum on your side, oh my gosh, this is where most people pump the brakes, or no, it's not even that, they coast. So they finally get momentum on their side, they're like, phew, because what positive momentum almost always comes on the back of negative momentum. And so since people have been going so long in the negative side and things have been stacked against them and they've been working so hard to get very little accomplished, that when they finally get momentum on their side, they coast. And that is not when we're talking peak performance, that is not the angle you want to take. What I would suggest is that when you have negative momentum going, when it feels like not only the odds are against you, but you know, when you watch sports, you can tell, like, momentum is something that you can absolutely see if you're paying any kind of attention, and you can feel it. It's palpable. It's so obvious when a team has momentum, because they're making the shots, they're making touchdowns, they're getting the puck in the net, and they're just playing ferociously, and that's such a great place to be. And you can tell that. You can also tell the other team where the momentum is totally going against them. And when the momentum is going against you, my suggestion would be that, because you are swimming upstream, and I realize I'm mixing metaphors here, but I'm trying to put a bunch of different things out there that might connect with different people in different ways. When the momentum is against you, you are swimming upstream. The disadvantage, of course, is that you work pretty darn hard for very minimal, if any, returns, depending on how strong the current is. And so, and you can be falling behind, and even you can be going, upstream, working really hard, either making very little progress, no progress, or actually going backwards. Same can happen in sports. You can be working your tail off and find yourself in those same positions. Now, I would suggest that when the momentum is going against you, that you don't fight super hard, that you don't absolutely just work yourself to death to complete and total exhaustion. It's just not the smartest use of your energy. What I would propose is you want to do is stay in the sweet spot when you're experiencing negative momentum of you are steadily working. It's like the tortoise and the hare thing. This is where you want to be. This is where you definitely want to be the tortoise. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't blow yourself out trying to do everything all at once, so powerful, so strong, and just fighting, because it's going to be exhausting, both physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of that. I think what you do is you pick a pace and you stay steady and you don't get yourself worked up by the lack of results that you're getting, okay? And then when the tide turns, as it always does, if you watch sports, if you have paid attention just to life and you have that emotional intelligence there, you know the momentum is going to shift in your direction. Now, when people are experiencing negative momentum, what they typically do is they get discouraged. They either fight really hard and get to the point where they're just exhausted, and then they're discouraged and they're downtrodden. So by the time things shift in their favor, they're kind of spent. And when the tide changes and you get positive momentum, you need to have gas left in the tank. You need to be able to mash the gas, put the pedal to the metal, and go forward, because the crazy thing is, when you have positive momentum, even if you're working your brains out, it doesn't feel that way, because you're getting so much positive reinforcement and so much positive feedback, because you're making so much progress so quickly, and it's invigorating, and there's so much vitality and passion when you're in that kind of a position, that you can work your tail off, but it's not going to be exhausting for you. It's going to be like the happy exhaustion where you're loving the work and you're seeing the results, and that's when you really mash the gas. When you have positive momentum. When you have negative momentum, what you do is you put your cruise control on at a pace that you can sustain indefinitely. And this is not about taking it easy either. This is going to be very tough because you have so much resistance. But when you have negative momentum and all that resistance, what it does, if you allow it and you're smart about it, is it builds up muscles for you that when you get to the positive momentum phase and you haven't burned yourself out, but you have been steady and built those muscles, holy cow, the tide has changed. You're swimming downstream. You've got the positive momentum and you are unstoppable, and you will cover so much ground. And you have to have both sides. You can't just wait around for the positive momentum to get there and then you're like, okay, I'll start now, because you won't have the stamina, you won't have the speed, you won't have the conditioning in place to take advantage of the positive momentum in the same way. And so I hope that is tremendously beneficial and some information that you can take with you this week, just at a practical level. I want you to be thinking about it. How can I implement this? And recognizing what phase you're in, because you're not really in a holding pattern. That almost never happens. You're either experiencing some negative momentum or you're experiencing some form of positive momentum. And I think that's a key item, is you need to know what position you're in, and based on that, that's how you're going to run your playbook. It is graduation day. We are on our way to Colorado Springs, and I have a driver today.
One! All right! Come on! Yeah! Here we go! Yeah! 1, 2, 3!
So at the end of a really busy week here, it's been just had a lot going across multiple sectors, multiple businesses. I was on like 3 podcasts this week, so it was a little bit hectic but exciting, and just kind of keeping the hustle on, that type of thing. And just finished up here with my niece's graduation. Super proud of her, so props to all the grads out there. And it's really pretty awesome time. You know, there's some, anytime we're moving from one thing to the next, there's some bittersweet stuff, some nostalgia, remembering all the people and the places we've been and how that's been really meaningful to us, but then the excitement of moving to something new. And I just encourage you, you know that you're evolving and moving forward when you're transitioning to something new, and it's just the phases of life. And so to cherish every phase of it, but especially these times of transition, that they can be really, really powerful shifts for us. And so anyway, again, congrats to everybody out there. And for those of us who are a little bit beyond the high school years, just making sure that we're continuing to change and grow and evolve and move on to other things, instead of getting stuck in what we've been doing for so long and like never graduating and moving the tassel from one side to the other. If it's time for you to move on and go on to something else, or grow in an area where maybe you feel like, you know what, I really haven't matured this to the level where I feel like I want it to go, just maybe focus on that, and then celebrate, especially as you're moving on, especially as you're moving up in whatever it is you're doing. All right, guys, take care. Talk to you next week.